Welcome to Cody in the Cinema. Today I'm discussing 3 films that hang around the 3-hour mark, maybe more, maybe less. But they do take a while to get through, but I think they're really worth your time. And some of these, I'd had on the list to get through forever, and I'm glad I've spent time with them, starting with this thing, the Road Trilogy, specifically by Wim Wenders, the movie Kings of the Road. A few of you have recommended that I see this, so I finally picked this up in a sale. If you haven't ever heard of Kings of the Road, this is about a film projector who lives in a van. In fact, you get to see his hygiene habits at one point. That's kind of gross. And, he picks up this buddy who's apparently a really depressed psychologist who actually drives his vehicle right into the water. And they become buddies on and off. They have some adventures and some misadventures. And if you love the idea of being on the road, Kings of the Road, I think you're going to enjoy this film at least somewhat, because I constantly, I drive across the country, and in a week from now from this video, I'll be going to Wyoming. So we'll be going through Colorado, Wyoming, we'll be sleeping different places, right out of the van. And when I was watching this, even though this takes place in Germany, I just couldn't help but find that real connection. Very few films capture the ennui of life on the road the way this one does, for better or worse. I mean, Kings of the Road is a slow-moving film for sure, and at times almost got frustrated with the pace, which never happens to me in his films. But the actual impression it left on me, the images, I just, I kind of have sort of fallen in love with it. I'm going to admit that happens with his films sometimes. They don't immediately latch on to me, but the more I think about them, the more I really get into them. The chemistry between these two actors is incredible. I love some of the individual little hijinks they get into. For example, there's a time where these kids are impatiently waiting in this, for this movie viewing, right? Because that dude has to get, he has to get the stuff fixed, and while they're doing that, they end up playing little shadow puppet things behind the screen. You'll see, it's great. I felt there to be quite a tremendous amount of heart in the film, and there are some tender, touching moments, as well as some kind of unexpected commentary on wartime conditions there. It says, so the only thing I don't understand, it says that the cinematographer may have, or the film itself was dedicated to Fritz Lang, and I didn't quite catch that. So I love Fritz Lang, so if you all can tell me in the comments what I missed there, maybe I'll see it on a second watch, but I do recommend Kings of the Road, especially if you are about to go on a long road trip, okay? So I wanted to talk a little bit about that one, and shortly after I watched that, I finally got around to a film that I'd said on my channel I'd only seen parts of on my phone, and I'm glad that I have a copy of this and that I finally took the time to watch it on the big screen, and I think this one's a little under 3 hours, but it moves by remarkably fast. This is Edward Yang's Yi Yi, a 1 and a 2, and this is a masterpiece of filmmaking, folks. I had seen A Brighter Summer Day. I really loved the film. I've talked about it on the channel before, but I hadn't seen this one. So this film follows more or less 3 different characters from this family, probably my favorite being this middle-aged father who has this curious, mysterious relationship with an old flame, as the back of the case here says. There's also a little boy who has a terrific shot with some balloons, and another young lady who has, she ends up in a romantic entanglement, possibly, but this is a gorgeously shot, interestingly shot film. Yang will frequently put a barrier between us and the image we're intended to see, and sometimes it kind of makes it difficult to fully absorb this scene, but in the best possible way. We aren't always given the clearest, easiest vision of what it is these characters are trying to do or who they even are. We live life stumbling in the way that we watch them live life, stumbling while we stumble. That's what I was trying to say. I was really taken to this father character. I felt like his life, I could understand the frustration he must be feeling, because he's trying to hold together a sort of ethics at his business and in his professional life that I won't spoil, but he's also trying to figure out what to do with this former relationship with this woman, and that part, to me, really hit home. But the young boy was terrific, the other girl, all the scenes. This is one of those films that both has interesting characters and is shot so superbly and masterfully that I would say, from a purely just cinematography standpoint, this is going to be way, way up at my top in terms of interesting camera work, cinematography, visual style. I really liked it. And it was so chill, you know, like I love Edward. This is my second Edward Yang film, and in both instances, I've just felt like I could relax, even when times were tough in the film. And it begins. It says on the back of it, it begins with a wedding and ends with a funeral, and loved it. Loved the wedding scene especially. You can put it up there with what's the one, The Bad Sleep Well, has that wedding sequence, and you know, movies like The Godfather, which those two have a relationship, but to each other. But anyway, enough of that. Now there's one that I wanted to talk about because I hadn't mentioned it. I just haven't seen it in a long time. So those of you who have a little bit more knowledge of the film, if you want to share your thoughts in the comments. But the first time I saw this was years ago, and I haven't seen I think there's two more films. This is called The Human Condition. Masaaki Kobayashi. This film I remember being so taken to this that I spent like 2 weeks obsessing over it. I think back in 2021. And this is a terrific director in general. His filmography is stacked, but this is about a sort of a bureaucrat who is in the middle of trying to like ease work and tensions and make life better for prisoners of war. And he supervises this labor camp, and he often just clashes with bureaucracy. And it's a stunningly well-made film. It's a tender film. It's a heartbreaking film. Like I said, I haven't seen it in so long that I need to go back and probably just watch the trilogy. I have a stack of summer watches that I want to go through that are longer because I'll actually have a little bit more time to do that then. But I was so taken to it at the time. The back of the Criterion calls it a raw indictment of Japan's wartime mentality, as well as a personal existential tragedy that's riveting, gorgeously filmed epic, novelistic cinema. I do remember it having that quality. And like I said, I just haven't seen it in so long that I don't remember a ton about it, but it was when I was going through my shelf and trying to think of longer Criterions that I hadn't talked about, this one certainly was in my mind. And part of the reason I love making these videos is I go back and I think about things either I want to watch again or rewatch, and then you all give me recommendations, and it's just a lot of fun. So those were three that kind of came to mind. I just watched these two. Like I said, it's been a while since I've seen this. If you like any of these, please tell me what you think about the films or the filmmakers, whatever. If you'll click the thumbs up like button, helps grow the channel. Subscribe if you haven't, because I cover lots of Criterion related stuff on the channel. And we'll see you next time on Cody in the Cinema.